Mark, there's 5 things landlords need to do and make sure they don't mess
Start.
up
Keep
before
going.
they pick a tenant.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And we're going to go through the 5 things in detail. We're going to talk through, we've had lots of investors in our day. We cover lots of landlord tenant board issues and go deep on them. So we're going to have a lot of good insight. So stick around to the end of the video. We'll have some great information for you. And directly right under the description, right before the description, we have some links if you'd like to get home evaluation, know the valuation of your home, or thinking about buying or selling a property, click the links and we'll be in contact with you. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to share. What do you think the top thing is that people do or don't do, or maybe definitely need to do?
I'm gonna be experienced from calls that I've gotten in the last 90 days from YouTube viewers. New investors, number one, is they try to save money and they do it themselves. They put the tenant themselves. They've never done this before, but they want to save a month or 2 months worth of rent and they just fill it. They just fill it.
Yeah.
Someone,
Now,
that's the thing that
or
I've
they're in
got.
a rush to fill it. They're in a rush to fill it. I see that too.
Right. So that doesn't work out well, right? You can't deviate from a screening process. And I really believe in today's climate today is they should be adding any landlords, they should be doing even more due diligence just to safeguard the asset. Like
Well,
it,
my client today said they're buying their first home, and he said he had to give more information to get a lease than he did to buy.
well, that's right. And that's a smart landlord. That's a smart way to do it because I think these people are rushing the process, or if one category in the screening process checks off the box, then they just stop right there. So if credit comes back, they stop. Number two, meaning number two phone calls I've gotten this month was exactly like that. The investor hired a real estate agent to fill the vacancy. First thing they said was credit was outstanding. They stopped everything right there. As soon as they saw the credit report, they stopped the screening process. Needless to say, the tenant that occupied that vacancy messed over an investor in Newmarket and caused about $60,000 worth of damage and $28,000 in the rental arrears. Okay. So they didn't continue the process. And I really believe you have to continue the process. One more thing before we go through some of these. And number three to that is go to openroom.ca. You have to punch in addresses or names, see some outstanding orders come up in there. It's a great tool. Everybody should be using it.
Or front lobby. There's another one too. My
Yeah,
client's
that's
using.
yeah, front lobby too. You can report credit ratings and stuff on there, right? There's lots
Yeah.
of companies out there, landlord groups today that can be bouncing ideas off. I really believe that every investor, whether you're new or old, some of these people could have, properties, a few properties and they never left. All of a sudden, oh my God, I got to fill that vacancy now. And they're out of the loop with things. They're not up to date with LTV issues.
Yeah.
They're not up to date with, oh, it takes 8 months to get rid of them. Like it goes on
Well,
and on.
yeah. And so the number one thing that came up here was not conducting a thorough background check. Now, skipping or conducting a superficial background check on potential tenants. A background check reveals vital information. Now, normally around here, you can't ask for a criminal record check.
No, I mean, no, you can, but I've not heard it being too common. You know,
No. But
so
previous landlord references, um, and depending, I always say don't do the landlord, the last landlord, do the one before that. Because the current landlord sometimes just wants to get rid of them and says, oh, they're fine because they want them out.
how
Uh,
about do both?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So one thing that you just got highlighted here is missed payments. Okay, that's ask for bank statements. I
Yes.
want to see if you paid $3,200 a month. I want to see a year's worth of bank statements to show that it's left your account.
Yeah, and I always tell my
Done.
clients you can
Not
black
done.
out everything else. They don't need to know how many times you went to LCBO.
They don't need to know that.
No, just black out everything but the payments.
That's all you need to show.
Mhm.
Where and new people, this video is more geared for the new investor coming in, but it keeps popping up with questions and stuff like that and phone calls, and it's a big discussion that we're missing key information on the screening process, and it's unbelievable.
I
So
always get a rental application too, and if you look online, you can get the rental application that says the income and all those kind of things.
absolutely.
And then check everything. There should be references and everything else on there. Now, references, a lot of times they just give their buddy, so that doesn't help you too much. But you could drive by the property they're living now and see what kind of state it's in.
How about you knock on the door and say hi?
Yeah,
Really considering you folks as tenants, but you know what? I just got a couple questions.
yeah,
Oh, I see you have a dog. Could you be willing to pay a security deposit? Ready? No, whatever. It could be anything.
yeah.
Got to do this. Can you just imagine if that landlord investor in Barrie here that took those people from Newmarket would have drove down to Newmarket and saw the condition of the house and saw and just whether they did a drive by, it was a jungle outside. Can you imagine if they just would have taken the extra 30-minute drive down the road?
Yeah, I know.
Saved a lot of hassles.
Well, and I had this number two. I had this happen on the weekend. My client's renting out an apartment in his house. And so number two is relying too much on first impressions. So he
Yeah.
was like, making decision based solely on how a tenant presents himself during the initial meeting or viewing, why it's a problem. Tenants might be good at selling themselves in person, but could have a history of late payments or other issues. So the thing is, he said, "Oh, Diane, they were really great and I really liked them and everything was good, but they want to move in 2 weeks from
Red flag.
Mississauga."
Red flag.
Yeah, right away. I
Right
said to him,
away.
"Well, why do they want to move that fast? Nobody wants to move that fast
No,
unless they're in trouble somewhere along the way."
that's right. And
And the other thing is, I said, "Well, what's their credit?" "Well, I haven't got that." I said, "Well, just because you like them doesn't mean you don't get all of those other things. You still got to make sure you do all your due diligence." Like he thought they were great and he liked them. It was exactly what happened here. You meet them. Some people are very, very good. I've been snookered by it.
we all have. I've been snookered by it. When it, 15 years ago, and I wasn't in the real estate business at the time. I was a fairly new investor. I was on the fence of selling it or renting it out. So I was there working and painting, etc. And so I filled up some time slots for people to come look at. Girl came, two kids dressed pretty good. Again, being a newbie, oh, they're great. Well, guess what that great turned into?
A disaster.
Paid first month's cash, second, last month's rent was in a check bounce. 5 days later, two big dogs. A boyfriend or a husband looked like he just got a Kingston pen. I went, holy shit, am I in for a ride? I knew right away. And it was a ride. It
Yeah.
was a disaster. These are professionals.
Yeah.
So they prey on ads such as a Kijiji or Marketplace, and they see no representation. They're all over those ones first.
Yeah.
So hire people to do this or get guidance, extremely guidance.
And even if you like them, keep the emotion out and look at the paperwork. Because sometimes people suck you in. You like them and you think, "Oh, these people are great." And oh, they have these kids and they're so stable and they're great people.
You know nothing about them.
You don't know shit. And they know how to present themselves in a very good manner, right?
Ever. Do they ever? Do
Yeah.
they ever? And you know, we know this and we keep saying this. The LTB is one-sided. It's for the tenants no matter what. So
And I've taken people
what it is.
with not the best credit mark, but
Yeah, me too.
say it was a man and a woman split up, her credit's gone to hell because he's not paying the bills,
Could be
and
for
her
sure.
name's on everything too.
Sure.
It
I've
happens.
I've done that, and I don't solely go on everything. Credit's not that great, but my ability to pay, strong on the references, meeting landlords. I don't call, character references. Walk into their employer, go ask their boss. Who
If
cares?
somebody's been and if
My boss.
somebody's making 60 or 70,000 and the rent is 15 and they've been working there 20 years, You know what I mean? They have very stable job and they're making way more money than they need to pay the rent. So that's actually number three, ignoring financial stability or creditworthiness, not properly vetting a tenant's financial situation or failing to check their credit score and payment history.
Yeah.
So a tenant who cannot demonstrate financial responsibility may struggle to pay rent on time, which can lead to late payments, eviction, of course. Um, and like we just talked about, it's not only just the credit score, it's what got them there. I have young people sometimes that didn't pay a cell phone bill from when they were 19 years old and their credit is screwed.
Yeah, I could sit there. Yeah.
But have they paid their rent? Do they make good money? Like, how much money are they making and can they pay their rent?
Yeah, but I'm big on I'm big on it all now. Like again, I've been out of that business now for 8 years. If I was to today, if you don't got good credit, sorry, see you later.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
I'm not willing to deviate from anything anymore. Back then, that it was the ease that within really within 30 or 45 days you're at a tribunal. Now that's turned to 8 months,
I
right? So don't cut any corners. We cut some corners back in the day in a sense, but the time frames it was a lot different. And yeah, I had a big heart for some of these people and they worked out well. They were great tenants. But the
yeah.
one showed up to Bentley with mom and two kids looking great, and you just put through a story of one of your clients or whatever, oh, they want to move in 2 weeks. That's the biggest red flag imaginable. There's an eviction date sitting there and they're going to be gone. So they need a place and they're going to pray in the most easiest ad and tell this one's the sucker. Let's go get him. That's it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no sugarcoating this shit.
Well,
It's
and the
disaster.
thing is, I noticed like some of my most successful investors, they're just like no nonsense. Like there is no emotion at all. They don't, it's all business. I look at the numbers, I look at the credit, I look at their income, they don't give a shit how nice they are. I get more sucked into the heart of the matter than they do. That they just don't. They're very, very clinical about it. And that's how you have to be.
Have to be that way. You have to be. And you know, it just baffles me that someone can go out, same Barrie here, buy an $800,000 property, $1 million property, put a tenant there, and not even go through any checks. And this is a regular occurrence. Or to save $3,000 or $5,000. That savings that you're gone is going to be gone in 3 months.
I try to tell my clients that all the time, Mark.
Destroyed homes, and we've seen it. There's no repercussions.
No.
You
But
know,
you're better off waiting a month or two to get a good one.
you have to. And to that point, put some money away. Don't go renting out your place till you have 3 or 4 months worth of mortgage payments sitting in your bank account. Maybe I'd go 8 today. Screw it, because it could change so fast, right? It could
Well,
change that way.
and even when you get a mortgage on a rental property with a bank, they put a percentage for vacancy
Mhm. For sure. But
because there's always going to be months that it's empty.
yeah, at times, not many, but I never counted them. But there could
I had
be.
a couple months here and there while I'm waiting to get another tenant, and I got to clean and fix before I can even
Right,
meet the
right,
other one.
right. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it could be a 30-day turnover, a 60-day, depending on what needs to be done. But yeah, I think a lot of new investors don't put that money aside today for situations like that. You got to do it, folks. Don't
Mhm.
cut a corner. Telling not in today's rental game. There's no corners cut.
Now, this one is really good too. Failing to set clear expectation and lease terms. So what they're kind of saying, you need the detailed lease agreement. Now in Ontario, everybody, you have to do the Ontario standardized lease. That came in 4 or 5 years ago. You Google it, it's a form, you fill it out, everything's on there. You can only do a key deposit for the amount that you can actually, it would cost for you to replace either the fob, the key, the
Right.
lock, whatever it is you have. You can't be charging $500 or $800. You can't make up some crazy number. And in Ontario, you cannot charge a security deposit either, Mark. Now, a lot of times, if there's an animal people will ask for one, and if the tenant really wants the property, they'll pay for it, but legally it's against the law.
I know. I know. Yeah.
And if you say, okay, if you're a day late or anything bounces, it's an NSF charge of $50 or wherever it is. And the Ontario standardized lease, it says $25 is the maximum you can charge, when an NSF charge now is 50.
Yeah. Yeah. Not right. Yeah. Well, to avoid all those folks, just follow some of these basic things.
Well, and
And
basically tell them, okay, like if I don't get paid, and if you're a day late, you tell me you're going to be a day late, fine. You're 2 days late, you're getting an N4.
you have to jump on that right away.
Yeah.
So one of my
And let
clients,
them know that beforehand.
right.
Like this is
So
how, this is the expectation, this is how it's going to be.
it doesn't matter. You can go tell them, but you can tell them if you want. I know what I'd be doing. If they're 2 days late, you don't mind helping out and saying, great, even a week late, no problem. After the 8th day comes along, here's your N4. The process has to start right away.
Yeah.
Right. A past client, I was talking with a past client yesterday, and his tenant's 2 months late. 2 months. He allowed it. Should have gave them right away when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually he's a couple months late, but he's been a good guy. Had him for 4 or 5 years. Now he's 2 months, and then he goes, "Now I know my rights." Oh God! So then he stopped paying right then. You know where it's going. Offer him some money. Ask him to leave. I'll go get you first. I'll give you first and last. I told him, go give him first and last month's rent. Let him find a place. If it's 5K, give him 5K and tell him you'll write off the other 2 months he's lost, because you're not getting paid for the next 8 months.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
It becomes economics at this point. So, it's tough. So, there should be no more shit. It just should be cut and dry. You have to follow those rules. As soon as you
Yes.
don't, what happens? 1 month turns into two, and then you lost 60 days.
Well,
Oh,
and what did I say earlier? Your client is getting sucked in the same thing so many people do. Their
100%.
heart, the heart, right? Well, I like him. I've had him for a long time. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
a business, and my people that are landlords, my investor clients, most of them, their heart is tax, man. They don't mess around.
can't. There's no messing around. This is a no nonsense business today.
This is
Uh,
a business. It's not about, being nice to people, unfortunately, because if you give them an inch, sometimes they take a mile. And once you set that precedent of, oh yeah, okay, everything's okay, it just gets worse and worse.
does. What's number 5? Overlooking the importance of references. Oh God. People do.
Well, Mark, your client in Newmarket, if they would have actually called, if the new people would have actually called the prior landlord, they would have known what was going on.
Well, it was a fraudulent reference, right? And from that experience was that she kept forcing and saying, well, the credit was great. Yeah, the credit was great because we weren't paying other bills. That's why it was so great.
Yeah, they paid all their bills, just not their rent.
And these people are professionals, so they know the game. They know the screening stops once they see a high credit score. It stops. These guys are all stars. Look, honey, they have a credit score of 805. We need them. It all stops. You can't, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think why that credit score is so good? One, they know when they go to the next place, that's what the new landlord's going to want. We want to see your credit score. Checks off, great. You guys pay the bills. Didn't ask them for any. Show us the rent. The rent was $2,700. Great. We like your 805. Can you please provide us the last? You've been there for 18 months. Please supply me with 18 statements or whatever showing that $2,700 came out of your account every month. I
Yeah.
want to see it. It stopped. So, and look at the mess. Look at the mess where this goes on. So there was a crack, and these professionals know it. We're not doing this we're just doing this to educate people. So, because we see so much of it.
Yeah. And references, you have to be careful. Like, I don't mind doing employment references,
Oh, you should do it all.
because if you call an employer, you're calling a business. Do you know what I mean? It can't be fraudulent.
No, go into place employment. If I was getting back into this business today, Diane, here's what I would do. I'd go to their employer once, make sure they're working great. I'd ask to see the supervisor manager. Hey, what can you tell me about Sally? She's thinking about renting a place of mine. Great, thanks. I would go to their house automatically. I would go to their house to see how they live. I don't care. Show up unannounced. I would do it. I would do it.
I
And
know.
what else would I do that would be crazy?
See, for me, personal
I
reference,
asked to
that
come in. I'll take a tour
listing,
of your house. I would. I
that,
said, let's take a tour of your house. Will you invite me in to take a tour of your house? There you go. Why
mm,
not? I would.
well, that personal reference thing on that list, I don't like it necessarily.
It's no good. It's not good. You
It
can't go
isn't.
back to references. You got to go back to the landlords. And if they have
If
three
their
or four,
brother or their sister or whatever, and they bullshit on who they are.
well, for sure, for sure. But anyway, I think
Professionals do.
well, they know how to get the newbies, investors, right? We were all there. Go to Kijiji Marketplace. Oh, not represented because if it's an agent representative, you got to have some, their information. And I'm not a big fan of using real estate agents for investment properties to find tenants. They cut corners. There's not a lot of money into it, so they're putting very minimal effort. They're not looking after your best interest. And even though we're real estate agents, I'm saying that because I don't do them for that reason. Not the reason I don't do them is because I don't ever want to kill a relationship or a business relationship with an investor client and put someone bad because things can go bad, right?
Oh, I put bad ones in where now, mind you, bad, it's subjective, I guess. They were there for 5 years. They paid their rent on time every single time, but they trashed the friggin' house. And when he sold the house, they wouldn't leave.
Right.
Now, I wasn't like a Remax agent brought them, and I was representing the like the landlord, and the other agent was representing the tenant. So I didn't know them personally, but they had great credit. But they do. They always have paid their rent everywhere they lived.
Yeah. Well,
But they trashed the friggin' house and they wouldn't leave. And we sold it and we had 8 months of nonsense.
right. So that's why people should just do surprise visits. Can you invite me to show me your home?
And he yelled at me.
Yeah, well, that's
Well,
part of
you
it.
got these people, Diane. I said, well, actually, I didn't.
That's why I don't do them.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
I don't put them in. I don't want to kill a relationship with an investor client. I don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth that relationship. Hire a property manager. You can bounce ideas off me. Anyone can bounce anything off me. No problem. But
Yeah.
I won't be the lead in finding a tenant
Well,
ever.
and the problem is, and I always, when I do help my clients, because I do once in a while, I'll tell them, listen, I don't know any more than you do. I mean, I'm looking at the papers, I'm making the calls, and they look great. Are they snowing me? Maybe.
Yeah.
If
Well,
are the people I'm calling full of shit? Maybe.
maybe that part, and that's why it's not foolproof, right? Or even yeah, okay, go do the surprise visit. Go knock on some neighbors' doors. Those neighbors know what's going on. Neighbors know the rental units in their area or on their street. They know it. They'll let you know.
Well, the last one I did, they were in a condo building, so it was screwed.
Yeah, well, a little tougher there. But okay, I think
I
we've
can't
covered the
tell.
points. No, that part we can't. Superintendent might, but anyway, I think we've covered some good points and gave some good suggestions
Yeah,
for the viewers today. So anyone has questions, hey, reach out. I'm always happy to answer any questions or run a scenario by me. I'm all good. Hit the
hit the
likes.
li- it,
Go ahead.
yeah, hit the like, subscribe, or drop us a comment if there's something you want us to do.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Perfect.
See ya.
See ya.